Alrighty, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Gonna be starting momentarily. Just gonna get things set up here, and we'll be ready to go. Hope everyone's day is going well. Almost ready to go. Just finishing setting up, and I'm gonna start. Alright, almost ready to go. Alrighty, let's begin. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of BITBE53 podcast. On this week's episode, we've got World Series to recap games 3, 4, 5, and 6. We've got MLB Award finalists that came out literally last night, and I've got predictions because they're literally announcing the winners next week with the dates of who will be announced when, plus NFL Week 9 recap, plus 10 predictions, and a crazy college football weekend to go over. Let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 53 of the Benny in the Booth podcast. Thank you so much for the support to this point. I very much do appreciate it. Boy, we've got a bigger episode than originally planned because I didn't even realize that they were going to announce award finalists and award winners so soon after. Usually there's at least a few weeks, but we're going smack into award season and even the off season of baseball, as there's already been a few moves here and there, other than people not accepting qualifying offers or basically just players going to free agency. Let's start off with baseball. One big move that's happened is Edwin Diaz is staying with the Mets. He is not leaving the Mets. He was a possible free agent, but he got the biggest reliever contract in baseball in order to stay with the Mets. Well, I just got Is this it? No. I just gotta. Oh, here we go. Five-year, $102 million contract to stay with the Mets, which I think is the right move by the Mets. He had a great year, and I think he's the best option for them to have as a closer. Good move by them to keep him in New York. So, World Series. We left off where it was 1-1 heading to Philly, and Game 3 was all Philly. They had every single run come off a homer. A bunch of solo home. Bryce Harper, 2-run homer in the first inning. Alec Boehm solo and Brandon Marsh solo, both in the second. Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins. Schwarber, 2-run homer. Rhys Hoskins solo home run back-to-back, both in the fifth inning. In the Phillies 7-0 Game 3 victory, which put them up 2-1. Game 4, though, they were shut down. Combined no-hitter between Christian Javier, Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, and Ryan Presley for the first no-hitter in World Series since Don Larson in 56. First in postseason since Roy Doc Halladay in that same ballpark, but back in 2010. Doc Halladay being against the Reds, Larson being against the Brooklyn Dodgers, who are now the Los Angeles Dodgers. And all of the Astros runs were in one inning in the fifth inning, in a 5-run fifth inning. Yordan Alvarez hit by a pitch. Alex Bregman 2-run double. Kyle Tucker RBI sac fly, and Yuli Gurriel RBI singles. The Astros won 5-0 to even the series at 2 games apiece, which honestly, after that no-hitter, I was ready to already say Houston won the series. At that point, I was like, okay, series over. It did get interesting the next 2 games, but I was like, how is Philly going to respond after getting no hit? And they actually responded well at the end of the series, but spoiler, they lost the series. Game 5 was a bit back and forth, but thanks to a huge play in the 9th inning by Chas McCormick and Jeremy Pena go-ahead solo home run, the Astros beat the Phillies 3-2 to go to Houston, up 3-2 to win away from getting a, as of right now, actual legal without cheating World Series title. And in Game 6, the Phillies would actually strike first on Kyle Schwarber solo home run, but after getting 2 on, after Houston got 2 on, they took out Zach Wheeler, who was pitching well at that point, and really the first base runner went out on fielder's choice should not have gone on because he leaned into the hit by a pitch but was not called out for it, unlike Diaz earlier in the series. They took out Wheeler. Now, a lot of people are calling out Philly for taking out Wheeler. My problem's not them taking out Wheeler. Fine, I understand. Jordan's technically not as good against lefties. Fine, that was not my issue. My issue is the fact that they threw in Alvarado, who literally had given up all 5 runs in Game 4. All of them. And he started with the first batter he got to face in Game 6 with Yordan Alvarez, who had hit by a pitch that started the whole rally. And if you could tell me, but a lefty. There's still Brad Hand in the Phillies bullpen. Ranger Suarez, I mean, he probably could have been they could have been saving him from Game 7, but at that point, you really got to be all hands on deck. But Ranger Suarez has been coming out of the bullpen as a lefty. You literally had two other options. And yes, Alvarado is your best reliever, but when he gave up that 5-run inning the other night, that's a terrible decision. And Rob Tom, I haven't seen like his post-game interview, and he probably answered for it, but he's really got to answer for that. Not fire-worthy, but you really got to be able to come up with a good answer for that decision, because that was absolutely stupid. Alvarez, spoiler alert, hit a go-ahead / game-winning 3-run homer off Alvarado. Astros got an extra insurance credit, and for the first time firmly legal in the franchise history, first time since 2017, if you count 17, the Astros have won the World Series, and Jeremy Pena was your World Series MVP. So that's a wrap on the World Series and the wrap on the regular season. So, as I said in the intro, we actually got the finalists for the awards, what date the awards winners are coming out, and I'm going to tell you all those details plus my predictions for each of the awards. So, first of all, the awards are all going to be next week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Monday, November 14th is going to be Rookie of the Year. Tuesday, November 15th is going to be Manager of the Year. Wednesday, November 15th is going to be Cy Young, 16th. And then Thursday will be MVP for this season. So, Rookie of the Year, AL candidates are Stephen Kwan of the Cleveland Guardians. Very valid candidate. Most of these, they did very good job on who deserves to be what candidacy. I will say that. Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners and Adley Rutschman of the Orioles. You can make a case for either of three, but really, I think Julio Rodriguez is going to win this award. But I do think it will be a close one. But I have Julio Rodriguez being AL Rookie of the Year. For the NL, also the three valid candidates, Brendan Donovan of the St. Louis Cardinals, a versatile player who was really good for them this year. Michael Harris, second outfielder for the Braves. And Spencer Strider, pitcher for the Braves. Really, to me, it's between Strider and Harris more than Donovan. But I think Strider's going to get the edge because he was like very dominant. And Harris was good, don't get me wrong. But I think Strider's going to have the edge and win NL Rookie of the Year. Manager of the Year finalists with predictions. AL is going to be between Terry Francona of the Cleveland Guardians, very valid case, taking the youngest team into the postseason this year. Brandon Hyde of the Orioles and Scott Service of the Mariners. I think truly is going to come down to between Hyde. I mean, really could come down to any of the three. But I think being that the Mariners had made it for the first time since 2001, I think it's going to go to Scott Service of Seattle. The NL, they did not do this proper justice. Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, which, yes, they won 111 games, but he stinks as a manager. I mean, it's just, I don't understand it. Buck Showalter of the Mets and Brian Snitker of the Braves. I think Buck Showalter is going to win NL Manager of the Year, honestly. But we'll see what happens there. Cy Young Award, American League. The finalists are Dylan Cease of the White Sox, Alek Manoah of the Blue Jays, and Justin Verlander of the Houston Astros. I would love to say Cease because I think he deserves it very much. But honestly, my prediction is Verlander coming off Tommy John and putting up the season he put up. I don't think he's going to be beat for Cy Young. And then the National League is between Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins, who I did get to see pitch when I went to the Marlins game this year, Max Fried of the Braves, and Julio Urias of the Dodgers. I think if there's one thing that would be in the way of my prediction winning would be the fact that Max Fried won 20 games. But my prediction is Sandy Alcantara because he was just lights out. But we'll see what happens. My prediction for NL Cy Young is Sandy Alcantara. And then for MVP, AL, Aaron Judge, to no surprise, Shohei Ohtani, to no surprise, and Yordan Alvarez, which is interesting but understandable. My prediction is Aaron Judge. Once he hit 60 in my mind, that locked him for MVP. And then for the National League, Nolan Arenado of the Cardinals, Paul Goldschmidt of the Cardinals, and Manny Machado of the Padres. I think it's going to go to Goldschmidt because he came very close to being a Triple Crown winner this year. So that is the awards. They're going to all come out next week between the episode and when I come out with the rankings for next week after week 11. I'll be saying who won what awards, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, we still have time till that pops up, but that is MLB part of the recap. Let's get straight into college football. Let's do college football. So this week, the rankings didn't just get shaken up the way everyone was expecting them to get shaken up. They got shaken up beyond what everyone was expecting. Now, what I mean was the expectation was just between Georgia and Tennessee because that was the 1 versus 3. They got shaken up way beyond that. One area where it didn't get shaken up is Ohio State, or probably won't be. Is Ohio State did manage to win this week, but they struggled at Northwestern in the rain, 21-7. And if you want to know how much of a struggle, Northwestern only has 1 win this year. Number 3, Georgia absolutely dominated number 1, Tennessee, 27-13. The score does not really tell you the story. They completely wrecked them from beginning to end. It was not a game at all, really. Tennessee got wrecked. Notre Dame upset number 4, Clemson, 35-14. Another area where the rankings are going to get shaken up. Number 10, LSU beat number 6, Alabama, 32-31 in overtime. That's another area. Number 24, Texas beat number 13, Kansas State, 34-27. Michigan State beat number 16, Illinois, 23-15. Illinois, though, is still top of the Big Ten West, but they do have Michigan and another key matchup coming up before the end of the season. And Kansas beat number 18, Oklahoma State, 37-16. That is the week recap. And this week, there are 2 key games to focus on. Number 6, Alabama. This is going into tonight's rankings. Number 6, Alabama at number 11, Ole Miss, 3:30 on CBS. And number 7, TCU at number 24, Texas, 7:30 on ABC. So that is college football recap. It's going to be very interesting to see how the rankings come out this week after the amount of upsets that happened to a bunch of the ranked teams. Last part of the recap, NFL Weekly recap for Week 9. Joe Mixon had 5 combined touchdowns, 4 rushing, 1 receiving, and a 42-21 Bengals win over the Panthers. Baker Mayfield actually took over in the second half and did decent, but didn't matter. Justin Fields ran for 15 carries, 178 yards, and a touchdown, beating Michael Vick for second most rushing yards in a game by a quarterback of 173. Lamar passed him like 29 in his MVP season. I forgot what that number is, but basically he's now second. In a 35-32 Bears loss to the Dolphins. The Lions beat the Packers 15-9, which the fact that the Packers only scored 9 against the worst defense in the NFL is hilarious. And the Jaguars came back from down 20-7 to beat the Raiders 27-20. The Raiders' third double-digit blown lead this season for them, which just sucks for them. So this week's in predictions, I actually did very good. I went 11-2, and my total prediction record for this year is 83-51-1. Standings update in the AFC, starting with the AFC East, the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins. Bills in first place at 6-2, followed by the 6-3 Jets and Dolphins, followed by the 5-4 Patriots. In the AFC North, the Ravens in first place at 6-3, followed by the 5-4 Bengals, followed by the 3-5 Browns, followed by the 2-6 Steelers. AFC South, Titans in first place at 5-3, followed by the 3-5-1 Colts, who just fired Frank Reich and hired Jeff Saturday, former center in the NFL, as their intern head coach. Followed by the 3-6 Jaguars, followed by the 1-6-1 Texans. AFC West, Chiefs in first place, followed by the 6-2, followed by the 5-3 Chargers, followed by the 3-5 Broncos, followed by the 2-6 Raiders. That is the AFC. For the NFC East, Eagles in first place at 8-0, followed by the 6-2 Cowboys, followed by the 6-2 Giants, who are also 6-2, followed by the 4-5 Commanders. For the NFC North, Vikings in first place at 7-1, followed by the 3-6 Packers and Bears, followed by the 2-6 Lions. NFC South, Buccaneers in first place at 4-5, along with the Falcons, who are also 4-5, followed by the 3-6 Saints, followed by the 2-7 Panthers. And then for the NFC West, Seahawks in first place at 6-3, followed by the 4-4 Niners, followed by the 3-5 Rams, followed by the 3-6 Cardinals. That is the standings update. And week 10 predictions are as follows. Thursday Night Football is Panthers hosting the Falcons. I have Atlanta winning that game. Seahawks at Buccaneers. I have the Seahawks. Vikings at Bills. The key thing to keep an eye out is Josh Allen, who apparently might have some sort of injury. But for now, I'm assuming he's playing, and I'm going to pick the Bills. Maybe not a good assumption to make, but I'm going to pick Bills. Lions at Bears. I have the Lions. Broncos at Titans. I have the Titans. Jaguars at Chiefs. I have the Chiefs. Browns at Dolphins. I have the Dolphins. Texans at Giants. I have the Giants. Saints at Steelers. I have the Saints. Colts at Raiders. I have the Raiders. Cowboys at Packers. I have the Cowboys. Oh. All right, that's next week. Sorry. Cardinals at Rams. I have the Rams. Chargers at 49ers. Sunday Night Football. I have the 49ers. And Monday Night Football, Commanders at Eagles. I have the Eagles. That is my week 10 predictions. And that is this week's episode of the podcast. Excuse me. So let's wrap things up. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Benny and the Booth Podcast. On next week's episode, we will have NFL Week 10 recap and 11 predictions. We'll have College Football Week 11 to go over and look at the Week 12 matchups that are going to be big for week in college football. We'll have MLB award winners to go to, some award winners to go over. And rankings at some day after that. Hopefully tomorrow or at some point later this week, I'll put out a separate video with the rankings for week 10 going into week 11 for college football. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you are new on YouTube, subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I go live into a post video. If you are new on audio, follow the podcast, leave a review, hit the notification bell so you're notified when I post on there soon after it goes on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you at some point later this week with the rankings and next week with another episode. Bye-bye.